Don't be cheap with your 3D, please. I always say this, and people think that I'm just trying to sell them 3D. I don't care who is going to do your 3D, but please have a 3D, because there's so many things that you're not going to be able to see in 2D. And you're going to think that you covered all your bases. You didn't. Hi. So today I want to talk about a situation that a lot of people fall into, and you're not going to believe how many emails I get almost every week of somebody somewhere around the world who is in the process of building their dream home. And as they're like halfway through construction, I'm saying like about 50% through construction, where you can really start seeing the building erected, and they just look at it and they're like, what? Who designed this and who built this? And mind you, these people were involved in the process from the beginning, and they approved these designs, but once things are getting built, it's a different story. And I get all these emails from these homeowners who are panicking. They're like, oh my God, I'm like spending my life savings building this thing, and now that it's coming into reality, I am not liking what I see. So how do I fix this? And this especially happens with facades. So in today's video, I want to talk about a project where a similar situation happened to the client, and he reached out to me and how we fixed it. So if you're interested in knowing more, then please keep on watching. Okay, so for some context, I get this email from this client, and he says, hey Malak, I watch your videos and I really like how you design your facades and everything. I am building my dream house in Turks and Caicos, and I don't like how it's looking so far, and I just want you to help me fix it. First of all, where is Turks and Caicos? I've never heard of this place before. And I'm like, is it somewhere close to Turkey because it has Turks? I'm pretty good with geography, okay? I'm pretty good with geography, but Turks and Caicos, I've never heard of that before. So I Google it, and it's this beautiful, like, paradise-like island in the Caribbean. So that was exciting because I think I did a project in Bermuda, but I've never done anything like, oh yeah, actually I did in Puerto Rico. So yeah, this was like my third project in the Caribbean, but it's always a pleasure to design something in an island because you get all these beautiful views, you get this tropical weather, you get this like super luscious site, and I just know that the client will turn that into like a little piece of heaven. So anyways, yeah, so that's why he said he is actually a general contractor, so he knows quite a bit about the industry, and he just didn't know how to fix the facade. So, and I told him, okay, why don't you send me what you have, and I will take a look at the plan and the elevation and everything. So he sent me everything, and I'm sharing my screen here. So this is basically what I got. The first picture I saw is this picture right here, and I was terrified. When I saw this picture, I'm like, how am I gonna fix this? Like, this is usually my like first initial reaction to every project. But I don't think I've ever seen a project where it was pretty advanced, where we had to fix the facade. So I look at it and I'm like, God, this is already built. Like and he said, oh, and by the way, I'm ordering all the doors and the windows from Miami. So everything is coming from the US to Turks and Caicos. So we cannot really do anything about the windows because they're already ordered. So I was very, very scared to start designing the project, and I told him, okay, I will look at it and I will see what we can do. And he was so kind, and he was very willing to work with me. And, you know, sometimes certain clients, they would reach out and they're like not trusting in a way, where they're very like, yeah, so what are you going to do? We like asking so many questions, which is fine. But this client, he was like, I know you're going to be able to find a solution for this. I watched all your videos. I trust you. And that was like, it gave me like hope, and it made me want to like, okay, I'll take on this challenge instead of like, oh my God, I'm scared. But it was like, it made me want to really do something for this project and make him happy about the design outcome at the end. So anyways, so I look at it first. So when you get a situation like this for a project or a facade, you have two ways to fix a facade. The first option, which is the ideal option, is to actually change the anatomy or change the bones or the structure of the facade. And usually you can do this pretty early on when the design is still on paper. quick fix. You can just wipe everything and then start from scratch. That's like ideal scenario. But sometimes you get projects like this where it's like 50% done. Like this thing is done. Like all he's waiting for is windows and doors and starting doing finishes on the inside. Like you cannot change the bones. So that ship has sailed. We're not going to be able to do anything about the facade. So then you activate plan B, which is option 2, where you're going to kind of go into materiality and lighting and landscaping and like minor built-ins, things like planters and stairs and stuff like that. So we are pretty constrained in what we can do about this facade, but that's not a big deal. So first of all, I think the biggest impact that you can get from these things that I just mentioned, materiality, lighting, built-ins and stuff like that, I think the most impact you're gonna get is if you start introducing some materiality. But materiality is tricky because you cannot just like go in and start putting materials on a facade. You have to really study it and see, like find a host for that material. And I talked this about my project that I did in Santa Monica, where you cannot just like start like drop in a blob of material and just like go in and like put material all over the facade. Because to be honest, I'd rather not have any material than having material that's misplaced. It just looks tacky. It looks very amateur. You can really see, and I'm gonna try to find pictures of materials that was misplaced in certain projects, and you were like, oh, I see what you mean. So I'm gonna try to put some pictures here on the screen. But anyways, so let's look at the facade they already built here. So I'm gonna first start by finding some hosts, as I said, for my materials. So there is something that the previous architect did well here, is that he gave us these frames. And I talk about these so much in, like, I almost talk about these in every video of mine. So we're gonna look at these frames and then we're gonna start introducing some material. So that's easy, low-hanging fruit, as I always say. This facade also has quite a bit of just like blank white walls, just like blank canvas. And he explained to me why it was done that way, but I forgot. What was the thought behind this wall, like this blank wall here? But anyways, so we got, I think, 2 things that are a good potential host for our material. So I got this wall right here, and I also got this frames right here that I can use. And I also have this thing around here that I can utilize that also as my host for material. Now, so even though these are 2 things that we're going to use as a host, but they are very different in their dynamic. So let me explain. When I say dynamic, so if we compare the link here, so if we compare this here, the orange, so you get thin strips. So if you were to like describe that, it's thin strips. They are traveling across the facade and they are moving. They are in motion. Okay? So that's the typology of that frame. But if you look at the wall here where I have the pink around it, that's static. That's a thick, heavy wall. It's just sitting there. It's like a blob, okay? It's not light. It's not moving. It's not thin, but it's just like sitting there. Okay, so we got 2 different hosts. Now when we think of a host that's thin and that's moving and that's dynamic, that host wants to be grounded. So contrast design, if you want to design something beautiful, you have to contrast things. So if we have a thin flowy strip and it's light, we want to contrast it with something heavy. And what is a better heavy material than stone? Stone works beautifully on thin frames like that. It's just, it looks like, so they complement one another. The stone is like slowing down that flowy frame, but also the flowy frame, it's lightening up that stone that is just like going in motion. But you cannot put stone, or you can, but I prefer that you don't. You cannot put stone on this wall that is static and it's heavy, because the stone is only gonna make that wall even heavier and just like I don't know what's the word for it, but it's just like if you have like this bees thing that is just like sitting there, it's just like it's not elegant. So I would not do stone on the static wall, but I would do stone on the frames. So, and that's what we did here on this picture right here, which is the what I proposed. So you will see it. Actually, you will see it here on this one. Sorry, I was just like marking up things before I started the video, so I'm cleaning up. So you will see that I have these stone frames going across the facade. You can see how they are going like that, and then it's going like this and like that, and it's just framing that entrance around there here. Okay, so that's the first thing that we can do. Now, if we go and talk about the static heavy wall, so for the wall, something that's heavy, we want to have something that's thin to contrast it, something that's light, something that's moving very flowy in the facade. And a best way to do that is actually to introduce slats. Now, again, I was not part of the design at the beginning, so I don't know why we had this block of wall just sitting up there. And it was like eventually gonna become kind of like an access to the rooftop or something like that, but it was just like I didn't know what to do with it, so we just gonna cover it with some wood slats. Now, the tricky part is that this project, it's right by the water, and actually I feel like I didn't show you very much. So yeah, you can see here, you see how they have water in the background. So it was going to be like this beautiful kind of front waterfront view house, and that climate, of course, it's going to be very salty, it's going to be very humid, and we cannot really do wood slats outside in a climate like that without treating it, and wood can be very expensive, and it can be hard to just like use it outside in the outdoor. So even though I do say wood slats, I don't really mean like actual wood. You can just use like aluminum frames. Actually, I have a sample, like a company called Longboard. They sent me a sample of that I can show you in a little bit, but there's also another company called Not Wood, and I will also put their website. And I feel like these two companies have the best aluminum wood looking design to them, because a lot of time when you have a material that's like trying to be another material, it looks kind of cheap, but these companies did it very well. And actually, let me go grab that sample. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I just want to show you here quickly, and I think my client was talking to Not Wood. I mean, they're a little bit pricey. Not everybody can use them, but it's a good option to know. He ended up doing like an actual wood treated slats, and I'll ask him for pictures once he's done, but I just want to show you. This is the Longboard company, and I just want to show you how it looks. You see, this is actually aluminum, it's not wood, and it's so realistically looking material. So this is also, if you look at it, you think that this is like a soffit for wood, a wood soffit, but it's not. This one too, and these are this is like a wood slat one. Actually, this is kind of similar to, sorry, my ring light is a reflection. But anyways, so basically this is what it looks like. This is the box they sent me for the product they have here. So let me show you. And this is the aluminum thingy that I was talking about. And they have so many finishes. They have all these finishes that you can choose from. But this is aluminum, like I said. You see that? It's aluminum. It's not wood. And I think it's much better, because wood usually is very, it shrinks, it expands, it warps. You cannot really predict what wood can do. And it's hard to have it somewhere where it's tropical and it's raining a lot. But yeah, anyways, it looks something like this. It looks something like this. And this is, I think that's just how it attaches to the facade, but you see that? And you can just like put them like this or put them like this, and that's something that I was basically telling the client to do here. And I also have, I reached out to the Longboard team about this exact system here that I have in the renderings, and they sent me they replied and they sent me an email, but I didn't follow up with them because my client decided to go with an actual wood one, so I didn't move forward with them. But it's a good company to look into. I think they are based in Canada, but yeah, basically what I'm showing here on the screen, these are going to be aluminum, and we don't have to worry about the weather if that's what you want to do. Okay, so that's what we did. So that's in terms of materiality. You can use stone for like thin profiles and frames, and you can use wood if you have something static and you just do slats to kind of give it a life or give it some motion. Okay, so that summarizes my first point, which is materiality. Now we're going to move to the second point, which is lights. Lights, especially in facades like this, you know, it looks lifeless. Once you put lights, you're just like putting life back into this thing where it looks lively, it looks like it's happening, it looks lived in. It doesn't look like just a house that's abandoned. And you can see how wherever I had that thin dynamic motion frames, I had like light here, I had light here. This is the other side of the facade here, you can see it, I have light there. This is the other facade also, where we used the same concept, basically, where we did the stone and when we did the wood here to just cover up that walls. Because like I said, this house had a lot of just blank walls that we didn't know what to do with, because I think they made sense from the inside. Again, the plans made perfect sense. It was a beautiful plan, but then when you look up and you're like trying to check the facade towards your 50% of construction, then you realize, oh, that's not what I had in mind. And actually, let me show you something. This is another view here. Actually, it was a big compound, and you can go like through a gate to get to the house. But yeah, let me show you actually what the sorry, I'm jumping as usual. I want to show you what the previous architect did, because it made perfect sense when you look at it on the 2D. And that's the whole thing why I kind of wanted to do this video, is because don't be cheap with your 3D, please. I always say this, and people think that I'm just trying to sell them 3D. I don't care who is going to do your 3D, but please have a 3D, because there's so many things that you're not going to be able to see in 2D. And you're gonna think that you covered all your bases. You didn't. And only if you have like 50 years of experience and you are an architect in your 70s or 80s, then you might have that ability to see from 2D to 3D just in your head. But everybody else, you do not have that skill. I do not have that skill. Like, you only develop that after 50 years of practice. And if you're a homeowner, you're not going to have that. And I don't think you should. Why would you develop such a thing that you're not going to like only use it once in your lifetime? But when you look at this facade, for me, this looks nice. I'm like, okay, yeah, I see everything, la la la, okay, perfect. Yeah, we got the frame here. Yeah, maybe these two walls, like, they're a question mark, but it's not like that big of a question mark. You're like, yeah, it will look fine. You're just moving, yeah, everything's fine. But then when you built it, and actually they built it pretty strictly and they followed the plan pretty strictly. But that's what it gives you. It gives you this. And you're like, what? It looks much better on the 2D. Anyways, so what I was trying to talk about was, I was talking about the light. So yeah, you do the light, you do the materiality. I think I forgot to mention. So you do, you know how I have these wood slats here, you can also have them here to kind of create that balance in between the facade, or like that symmetry. And I think the last thing that I wanted to talk about is something that you can add to your facade, is to have these built-in planters, or things that are tying your property around. Because when you look at the photos he sent me, the house looks like it's just floating, and it needs something to tie the whole thing around it. And the best way to tie a house is by doing these built-in planters that just like wrap around the house, and it just like it just puts everything together. And you can also see how I did it here, because this was elevated. I think because of the proximity to the water, they had to elevate the house. So all these planters are just like tying the building together. And of course, when you have this entrance, that is just, it's just like, it looks just like a hole that's going to the house. A best way to really elevate that is by having these floating steps, and you put LED lights again to just like lighten up the look a little bit. And I think the stairs here were already built, but they were not built floated. Unfortunately, you can just have these strip lights and you detail it in a way that it looks like it's hidden, but it gives that look that it's light. Okay, so what else did I want to talk about here? So actually, I feel like we didn't really talk so much about this facade here. So this is the back facade, and it was fine. I didn't really add any materiality to it because this facade already had a lot of openings, and it looks nice. The client, when we were working together, he was in the middle of actually adding the pool, so that's what I just showed him here. But it didn't feel like it needed much besides, of course, again, having some wood soffit or aluminum soffit like I showed you from that longboard company, and some lighting, and it will just be fine. It looks okay. And then again, we just took advantage of those wood slats that I showed you here to have a little barbecue area, because that was important to the client to entertain. This is another view here, but this is before I put the pool, but I think it can just show you how this thing kind of wrap around and go like that. And I just have some glass railing because again, this is where the view is, and it's beautiful view, so I didn't want to put anything that would block that. And also on the other side, you can see here the glass, and you can see it on this side here around this balcony that I told you. I don't remember why it was there, but it was already built, so the least we can do is just to minimize the damage and not draw too much attention to it. But just the wood slats would do the job. So basically that's this project in a nutshell. Again, the moral of the story is to not be lazy on getting a 3D, because a lot of these things, I'm sure if the client saw that, he would compromise something in the plan, or he would do something about it before it was already halfway built. So you catch a lot of things in those early stages of 3D, and it saves you so much money and headache, and just that panic alone of seeing something that you've been looking forward to and it's not coming as you envisioned. is just, that panic alone is not worth it. So basically, yeah, that's what I wanted to share today. So let me see here in my notes if I missed anything. I just want to show you here a final look of what the house looks like in Lumion. So again, this is the look from this side here. This is the front facade. We're gonna turn around. You can see there's the pool here. You can see this is the other side of the bedrooms. I think he had bedrooms upstairs, and this is the living room, kitchen at the bottom, and dining. And this is the other side of the house. And then these are just like I think this was the stairs, and this was something else, like another room in the back. But so yeah, basically this is what the house looked like, and pretty much that's what I wanted to go over today. It's just, I cannot emphasize this enough, to use your 3D with your designer. Really like rotate the model, go check every single angle of that, see if everything is working together, if everything is tied, everything is buttoned up, then you can start construction. That way you can just avoid headaches down the road. So if you found this helpful, please give me a thumbs up, share, like, subscribe, send this to somebody who's designing their house, because you never know, we might save somebody like hundreds and thousands of dollars on their next design. So yeah, again, if you're interested in knowing more about this project, I'm gonna leave a PDF summary in the description box below, and if you want to know more about my projects, go check out my website. And if you want to reach out to me, please do so, because I respond to every single email I get. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.